Before we begin, dear viewer, if you love deep stories from ancient history that shake your soul and reveal timeless warnings for humanity, gently support this channel by subscribing. It helps this message reach hearts that desperately need it today. Now let us begin. Long before the pyramids touched the sky, before empires rose and fell, before recorded history tried to explain the unexplainable, there lived a people so powerful that the earth itself seemed to bend beneath their footsteps. They were not legends. They were not myths. They were real. They were the people of Ad. Their story is not preserved in one book alone. It is a shared warning echoed across divine revelation. The Torah speaks repeatedly of ancient giants, mighty nations destroyed because of their corruption and arrogance, nations that trusted their strength more than their Creator. The Bible reminds us that before the flood and after it, there were mighty men of renown, towering figures whose pride brought divine judgment. And the Quran speaks with unmistakable clarity about the people of Ad, a civilization unmatched in strength, height, and architectural power, yet crushed into silence by the command of Allah. 3 revelations. 1 warning. Power without humility leads to destruction. The people of Ad lived in a land called Al-Agaf, a region of vast sand dunes and fertile plains. It was not a barren desert as many imagine. It was a land of abundance, rainfall, crops, livestock, and unmatched prosperity. Their cities were monumental. Their pillars were tall. Their buildings were not merely structures but declarations of dominance. The Quran describes them as a people who built lofty pillars the like of which had never been created in the land. This was not poetic exaggeration. It was a factual statement of their engineering supremacy. They were giants among men. Physically towering, muscular, fearsome. Their bodies were strong, their lifespans long, and their confidence absolute. When they walked, the earth trembled. When they spoke, others listened. When they fought, no enemy stood a chance. They believed themselves invincible, and this belief became their greatest sin. The people of Ad did not deny God out of ignorance. They denied him out of arrogance. They knew of their Creator, but they rejected submission. They worshipped false gods, idols they claimed brought them strength and rain, while mocking the idea that any force could overpower them. "Who is stronger than us?" they proudly declared. This statement alone sealed their fate. Because the moment a creation believes it surpasses its Creator, destruction is no longer a possibility. It becomes a certainty. Allah sent to them a prophet from among their own people, Hud, a man of truth, patience, and unwavering courage. Hud did not arrive with armies or weapons. He came with words, with warnings, with mercy. He reminded them of who gave them strength. He reminded them who made them giants. He reminded them that power is a test, not a guarantee. But arrogance is deaf. The leaders of Ad laughed at him. They mocked him openly. They accused him of foolishness and weakness. How could a man without an army challenge the greatest civilization on earth? They demanded proof. They demanded punishment. They dared divine wrath to come upon them. And the sky listened. Years passed. Rain stopped falling. Crops dried. Livestock began to die. A drought unlike anything they had ever seen settled over their land. But instead of reflecting, they grew more defiant. When clouds finally appeared on the horizon, massive and dark, stretching across the sky, the people of Ad celebrated. They believed their false gods had answered. They rejoiced. They prepared for rain. They had no idea those clouds carried death. What approached them was not mercy. It was judgment. A wind unlike any wind ever recorded in human history was unleashed upon them. It did not blow gently. It roared. It screamed. It tore through cities like an unseen army. The Quran describes it as a furious, violent wind sent upon them for days and nights without pause. A wind that lifted giants off the ground like dry leaves. A wind that shattered pillars. A wind that left bodies scattered like hollow palm trunks. The strongest people on earth were rendered helpless. Their height did not save them. Their strength did not protect them. Their architecture did not shield them. Arrogance made them blind, and blindness led them straight into annihilation. When the storm ended, nothing remained. No cities, no armies, no giants, only silence. Their land became a warning carved into the earth. This is not merely a story of the past. This is a mirror held up to every powerful nation, every arrogant leader, every individual who believes success makes them untouchable. Because the sin of Ad was not strength. It was forgetting who gave it. And if you think this story is irrelevant today, ask yourself this. How different are we? Welcome back. If you are still with us, it means this story has already gripped something deep inside you. Stay until the end, because what comes next is not just history. It is a warning written for our time. And if you haven't already, quietly subscribe to Son of Adam. These stories are not entertainment alone. They are reminders humanity keeps forgetting. To understand why the people of Ad were destroyed, we must understand something far more dangerous than physical strength. Arrogance of the mind. The people of Ad did not collapse overnight. Their destruction was the final act of a long inner decay. When Allah blessed them with unmatched bodies, vast lands, rain, crops, and architectural genius, it was a test. But power slowly rewired their thinking. They began to believe strength was proof of divine favor. They believed height meant superiority. They believed dominance meant permission. This mindset is deadly. The Quran captures their arrogance in a single chilling sentence. They said, "Who is mightier than us in strength?" This was not just pride. It was a declaration of rebellion. The Bible echoes this pattern repeatedly. In the book of Genesis, it speaks of mighty men of renown who filled the earth with corruption. Giants whose violence and pride reached the heavens. Their physical greatness became spiritual decay. The Torah repeatedly warns that nations blessed with power often mistake blessing for entitlement. And entitlement eventually turns into tyranny. The people of Ad crossed that line. They oppressed weaker tribes. They ruled through fear. They displayed their strength not to protect, but to dominate. Their cities were monuments to ego. Tall pillars not built for worship, but for intimidation. Every structure screamed a single message: look at us. We cannot fall. That is when Allah sent Hud again and again. Hud did not threaten them. He pleaded. He reminded them that strength does not belong to the body. It belongs to the one who created it. He warned them that gratitude preserves blessings, while arrogance destroys them. He told them to seek forgiveness, to return to humility, to remember their origin. But arrogance does something terrifying to human beings. It makes warnings feel like insults. The chiefs of Ad accused Hud of madness. They said no punishment would ever touch them. They openly challenged Allah to prove His power. This is where divine justice begins to move. The drought was the first sign. Rain stopped, not suddenly, but gradually. A slow tightening of mercy. Crops weakened, wells dried, animals starved. Years passed, but instead of repentance, they doubled down. They believed their idols were angry. They offered more sacrifices. They committed more injustice. They mocked Hud even harder. Then came the clouds. Dark, Massive clouds appeared on the horizon. Clouds so heavy they filled the sky. The people of Ad rejoiced. They ran toward them. They celebrated. They believed relief had arrived. The Quran records their tragic misunderstanding. They said, "This is a cloud bringing us rain." But it was not rain. It was a weapon. What followed was not a normal storm. It was a controlled force of annihilation. A wind engineered by divine command. A wind that did not merely blow, but hunted. For 7 nights and 8 days, the wind did not stop. It lifted men the size of towers and smashed them into the earth. It ripped roofs from palaces. It snapped pillars that had stood for generations. The strongest bodies ever created were tossed like weightless debris. Imagine giants screaming, powerless. Imagine warriors begging, unheard. Imagine a civilization erased without an army ever arriving. This was not chaos. This was precision. The wind targeted arrogance itself. The Quran describes the aftermath in haunting detail. Bodies were left scattered like hollow palm trunks. Empty, broken, silent. No survivors except those who believed. No monuments except ruins. No legacy except a warning. The Bible mirrors this principle again and again. Pharaoh drowned despite his army. Goliath fell despite his size. Babylon collapsed despite its walls. Rome crumbled despite its reach. History keeps repeating the same lesson. Power without submission invites destruction. And here is where this story becomes uncomfortable. Look around today. Towering cities. Advanced technology. Weapons that can erase nations. Human beings claiming control over nature itself. We no longer say, "Who is stronger than us?" We say, "We control everything." The arrogance of Ad did not die with them. It evolved. And that is why their story remains preserved in divine revelation. Not to scare us, but to wake us. Because Allah does not destroy civilizations for strength. He destroys them for forgetting Him. If you have reached this point, pause for a second. Very few people stay till the end of stories like this. And that itself is a sign. Because the final lesson of the people of Ad is not about giants, storms, or ruins. It is about you and me. Before we close this chapter, if this series has made you think even once about your life, your choices, or your Creator, then become part of this journey. Subscribe to Son of Adam, because reminders only benefit those willing to listen. Now listen carefully. Allah did not preserve the story of Ad by accident. It was not recorded to entertain historians or frighten children. It was preserved because arrogance is humanity's most recurring disease. Every civilization believes it is different. The people of Ad believed no wind could defeat them. Pharaoh believed no sea could drown him. Babylon believed no enemy could breach its walls. Rome believed no empire could replace it. They were all wrong. What makes the story of Ad unique is not just their strength, but the clarity of their warning. They were shown signs before destruction. They were given time. They were given a prophet from among themselves. They were reminded repeatedly. And still, they chose arrogance. The Quran tells us that after their destruction, Allah left their ruins as a sign. A silent message to those who pass by. A reminder that power is temporary, but accountability is permanent. The Bible carries the same moral thread. It reminds us that pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. The Torah warns that when people forget the one who lifted them, they will inevitably be brought low. Different books, same truth. The question is not why Ad was destroyed. The question is why we think we are immune. Look at the modern world. We build higher than ever before. We dig deeper than ever before. We dominate the skies, the seas, and even space. And slowly, subtly, we begin to believe that success came from ourselves alone. This is the exact mindset of Ad. Their sin was not building. Their sin was boasting. Their crime was not strength. Their crime was arrogance. They forgot gratitude. They abandoned humility. They mocked guidance. And when guidance is mocked, consequences follow. The wind that destroyed Ad was not random. It was precise. It did not destroy the believer. It did not miss its target. It was controlled by command, not chaos. This tells us something terrifying and comforting at the same time. Terrifying, because nothing is beyond divine reach. Comforting, because justice is never blind. The ruins of Ad whisper a message even today. No matter how tall you stand, you will be lowered. No matter how strong you feel, you will weaken. No matter how powerful you become, you will return to dust. The only thing that survives is submission. This story is not about giants falling. It is about egos breaking. And here is the final warning. Allah does not need storms to humble humanity. Sometimes He humbles us through silence, through loss, through fear, through moments where strength fails. The people of Ad were strong, but strength did not save them. They were tall, but height did not protect them. They were advanced, but advancement did not rescue them. What they lacked was humility. And humility is the only shield that never breaks. So ask yourself tonight, are you grateful, or entitled? Are you confident, or arrogant? Do you credit yourself, or your Creator? Because the story of Ad is not ancient history. It is a living warning. And it is waiting to be ignored, or understood. If this story made you reflect even for a moment, do not keep it to yourself. Share this episode. Someone out there needs this reminder more than you know. And stay connected with Son of Adam, because the past still speaks, and the wise still listen.